Hey all, welcome to this week's what would be a featured collection here at the Institute, but instead I'm doing another top 10. Earlier in the week I did a top 10 underappreciated 6 scale lines, and today I'm going to do an underappreciated smaller scale action figure lines. These are all kinds of, 4, 5, 6 inch, maybe 8-inch scale lines that I think didn't get the love they deserve and should be checked out if you're looking for something new to collect. I'm going to start with the Mattel Harry Potter line. This came out back when the movies were out, and it was poo-pooed, I know. Look at that Aragog, though, the detail on that spider. Look at the troll. Excellent work. And you know what? This is some of the first work that the Four Horsemen did with Mattel. And they did a really nice job with it. Yeah, some of the characters are more cartoony. And they did look at making one, they were thinking about making the kids look less cartoony. You can see here's the regular looking kids. And they did a Hermione here that you can see has a much more realistic head sculpt. But in the end, they didn't go that route. They went with the more silly kids route. But still, a lot of the monsters were really well done. I think the line deserves more attention, more respect than it gets. Number 9 is another Mattel line from a show that doesn't get enough respect either, the Batman. Yes, we have a lot of great animated Batman series. But this one, Mattel did a nice job with these figures. They went much deeper with the characters than I thought they would. We get a lot of really cool and interesting designs. Remember, the show was much different than either the Batman animated show or the New Adventures of Batman and Robin. And it really, or the new Batman Adventures. Any of those shows. This was much more unique in its style. And Mattel went really deep with these. You even got some San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. We got variants. You know how Mattel loves to do it. So they're going to get the number 9 spot. And they at least get some recognition. For me, number 8 is from NECA, or as some of you like to say, Neca. I'll stick with NECA and their Apes line. This is a terrific little line they did. Wish we'd gotten more. This is one they could have gone really deep with. We did get some original Planet of the Apes, some new Planet of the Apes, but really could have gone way deeper with this line. You can see I've got a gap there. That's because I bought their new Gorilla Soldier. I haven't decided if I'm going to kit him up and put him there yet, though. They also did a Lawgiver. That's probably one of the harder things to come up with these days. But as a line goes, you can come up with these pretty easily, I think, for the most part. And it's another one that you really should investigate if you're looking for something to collect. Speaking of which, if you're a Star Trek fan, and you haven't listened to me about XO6, there is another Star Trek line you could get into, and that's the one from Asylum. They're getting the number 7 spot. I stuck mostly with their original series figures, but they did plenty both for the other shows, especially the Next Generation. I just love the line. I thought they did a really nice job, some excellent articulation, some nice sculpting. So yeah, Art Asylum gets, with their Star Trek line, my number 7 spot. Number 6 is from Mezco. I knew there had to be something on here from Mezco. And they've done some really cool stuff that's flown under the radar. But I'm going with their Universal Monsters in the 8-inch scale that never got to really take off. I think there's some great designs. They only got to do 3 characters. They did 4 versions, 4 different versions. 3 of them in the back you can see boxed. This one over here of the creature from the Black Lagoon. I think it's a great creature design. They did 3 different Frankensteins, or Frankenstein monsters, and one of the Mummy. I really wish we got at least a werewolf and a Dracula out of this. That would have been really excellent designs, I have no doubt, and really looked great with those. Sadly, that's as far as it went, and I bet you can get all of those pretty cheap these days, too. Oh, let's swing all the way around this way and talk about one from Playing Mantis. I've done a whole video about these guys, too. This is their Peanuts line. Yes, this side over here is mostly Christmas stuff, including Franklin down over here, which is really the hardest one to get. The rest of these are pretty easy to come by still. Let's walk around to the other side so you can see a few more of them. Most of these are pretty easy to come by. Like I said, Franklin's really the only one that's quite difficult. And they did figures based on various shows, including Halloween and Christmas. And it's a fun line. Easy to come by, really underappreciated when it comes to cartoon lines. McFarlane, speaking of cartoon lines, did a whole bunch of different cartoon lines that have flown under the radar, even the Grinch, the Looney Tunes, that didn't get the appreciation they really deserve. But I'm going to talk about their Hanna-Barbera line here in the number 4 spot. You can see here we got several of them, Tom and Jerry, some Flintstones. I love this Captain Caveman with the dinosaur. It's a great setup. Some more Tom and Jerry and Flintstones. Yogi Bear. You can see them all mixed in here with some of the other stuff. My favorite's down around on the end here. Magilla Gorilla is a nice one. But my favorite is the Johnny Quest setup. Really cool. I don't know if these are cheap these days. I bet they are. I suspect people don't realize how fun they are. And they're not really action figures as much as they are slightly articulated statue sets. But still, I think they're really worth another look if you're into the old Hanna-Barbera shows. So now we're into the top 3, the big boys. And number 3 is from a company you probably don't even remember. That would be Plan B. Plan B did all kinds of cool stuff. Well, not all kinds, but they did plenty of cool stuff about 20 years ago. And here we have their military line. I only have 6 of the figures. These are a great 6-inch or so scaled military figure. They came with all kinds of accessories and some terrific articulation. They even did some vehicles, as I recall. Some really cool stuff. So if you are looking for something different, check out the Plan B stuff. Number 2 and number 1 are both in the same area over here. Number 2 is from Palisades. You know, I actually could have filled this list with Palisades lines. Everything from Invader Zim to Fairly Odd Parents, Pink Panther, but it's their Ren and Stimpy line that's coming in the number 2 spot here. They only got 1 full series out of this line. They had plans for all kinds of other stuff. We got several variants, and we got a couple of convention exclusives, but there was a tremendous amount of potential with the Ren and Stimpy line, and it really never came to fruition. Really breaks my heart. Man, that could have been such a great line. The number 1 line is right below them. Toynami and their Futurama line. Now, this one we did get a nice assortment before it was done. A lot of them were exclusives to conventions. They found whatever ways they could to get these guys out. We got most of the main characters, which is always good. We got some key, critical, and interesting variants. So yeah, they did a good job with this line. I could have seen it go a couple of more waves at least to get some more interesting characters out of it, but it was still pretty sweet. And that's my number 1 underappreciated action figure line. Let me know what your top 10 are. Which ones am I missing? Make sure you subscribe. And on Friday, I'll be doing an acquisition report. We've got 7 new things, I think, this week that are kind of interesting. So have a great collecting week.